Conlang Review, Episode 2, Globasa. Firstly, before we get into the language, I'd like to say that I'm very excited for this episode. It's the first episode that was ever requested, and it's the first IAL that I'm doing. So I'm expecting to do a lot of criticism, though I hope that Globasa proves me wrong here. And I have added a new Conlang to the Season 1 list, which is Tuki Tiki. I don't know where in the list I'm gonna put it, but it's gonna be coming up. Globasa is a Creole-based, world-sourced international auxiliary language, which was created by Hector Ortega. It is similar to Pandunia, which is another international auxiliary language, which Hector Ortega was involved with before he moved on to make Globasa. And I just want to point this out, breaking the fourth wall here a little bit. This is the fifth time I've mispronounced auxiliary while recording this video. Anyways, check out the flag. The flag is really cool. Honestly, one of my favorite online flags of all time. Globasa's consonants are ma, na, pa, pa, da, da, ka, ga, cha, sa, sa, sha, ha, ha, wa, la, ya, ra. Let's start with the positive stuff before getting to the criticism. Firstly, using C for cha and X for sha is a very good decision in my opinion, because these are letters that won't be used otherwise, and instead of using digraphs you can save space by just using these letters for these sounds. And using ch for cha has some problems because French speakers might be confused, because in their language ch represents sh. Now moving on to the criticism. Having distinctions between sa and za, and la and ra, and having ha and ha at all is probably not the best. Many languages don't have a za sound, and some other languages don't distinguish between la and ra. Korean and Japanese are famous for this. And there are a lot of Romance languages which don't have ha or ha. Spanish does have it, but it also doesn't have four different fricatives. So even here, Spanish has an issue. Bobasa's vowels are e, u, e, o, a. This is the most common vowel system that's found in natural languages, which is the five vowel system. And it's pretty much the best vowel system that you can go for when you're creating an a posteriori aux line. If it's a priori, then it's probably best to go for three vowels. It's also the vowel system present in Esperanto, which, in my opinion, is one of the few good things I can say about it. But I'll get to the criticism of Esperanto when I get to Esperanto. The syllable structure is CMVC. This is a pretty good syllable structure, in my opinion, because this allows words to be easily recognizable from their source languages, but they're not too complex so that most speakers of different languages can still pronounce them. The word order of Globasa is primarily SVO. Now, SOV is the most common word order among most natural languages. However, SVO is the most common word order among the most spoken languages. Both English, which is the most spoken language in the world, and Mandarin, which is the most spoken native language. Also, strict word order is an essential trait, which I think all international auxiliary languages, Jesus Christ, this is the sixth time, should have, because that means there's no need for complex grammar, such as in cases or personal agreement, which is again something I can criticize about Esperanto, but this is not the Esperanto episode. Moving on from Esperanto's omnipotent presence in all of conlanging and my hatred for the word auxiliary, we have probably one of the most interesting aspects of Globasa. And usually, auxlangs shouldn't be interesting; they should be simple. But in my opinion, this case is actually a good thing, which is in Globasa, nouns and verbs are not distinguished from each other, and adverbs and adjectives also aren't distinguished between each other. Now, the second part is probably reasonable to most people, but most people probably think the first part is absolute madness. But in my opinion, this is a good thing and a benefit of Globasa's strict word order, because this means that Nouns and verbs always occupy one part of a sentence, so you can never get them confused despite them being indistinguishable. Nouns in Globasa do not inflect for number, gender, definiteness, or anything else you might expect in a natural language. However, you can use optional modifiers such as un for one to represent an indefinite article and plu for many to encode that information. This, in my opinion, is the ideal ways of handling nouns in an aux line. It's simple and easy to learn, but if you want to add more information, you can add that information. Similar to nouns in Globasa, verbs also do not conjugate. However, you can use auxiliaries to mark tense, aspect, mood, and questions. For example, lay is used for past and shy is used for future. Now, unlike a certain other aux line I could mention, most aux lines actually, Jesus Christ, guys, fix yourselves. Words in Globas are sourced from a wide variety of languages. However, I do have some issues with the words for mother and father, which are matre and patre. These words are only really recognizable to people who studied Latin or Romance language speakers. Wouldn't it have been a better decision to use the word for mom and dad, or at least words similar to mom and dad, like mama and baba or mama and papa, for this, since they tend to be universal among languages? In summary, I was pleasantly surprised by Globasa. Of course, I do have my criticisms of it, but no interlang is perfect. The grammar is genuinely simple, and the words are from a wide variety of languages. If you are looking for a good aux slang to learn, then I highly recommend learning Globasa. Now onto the ranking. This segment will be a lot shorter than on the Okolawak video since I really don't have much to explain. Globasa is the best interlang that I've reviewed so far. It has no competition, but I have a feeling it's gonna stay up there for a while. Subscribe if you want to see more from this series, and goodbye. Stay tuned for episode 3.